Hey, everybody, it's Kyle Jetzel, your driven autism dad. I wanted to share a secret that my wife, Shelly, had created that I happened to find that in which the word that a lot of people will use is manipulate. I prefer the word engineer uh, because I think it's not, I think if done for the right reasons and in the right way, you should want to engineer things in your life. So just want to share with you what my wife Shelly had done. And I want to pull out, I found, just so you'll know, sometimes when I can't sleep, I get up and I will clean things out in my room. As many of you may know, my wife passed away in October of 2021, a little bit over 2 years ago, and I still haven't cleaned out everything. Well, I decided to clean out some of her files. And as I was cleaning out a file, I found a piece of paper. And as I opened up this piece of paper and started reading it, I realized and I remembered the exact moment she had used this strategy on me to get what she wanted. And I'll kind of share I'll share what she did or what I remember she did, and then I'll read to you what she wrote because it's pretty interesting. So I remember one day, there was a time when we first moved to Boise, Idaho over 20 years ago, or about 20 years ago. I was working out of the house. And so I would leave in the morning and come back in the afternoon, as a lot of men do. And when I would get home, she would be exhausted. We had four sons at the time. My two oldest typical boys were what we called feral because they were just crazy boys. My two middle sons on the spectrum, one was more severe and was an introvert. And then I have a level 3 son who was an extrovert who was on the spectrum as well. And as you can imagine, when you have an introvert who wants to be left alone and he's more severe, and an extrovert who wants to play, that can cause a lot of conflict. And so, not only was she raising two little typical boys who were crazy, she was raising these two boys on the spectrum who were just kind of at each other a lot all day long, every day. And a lot of times when I would get home, I could just tell she was exhausted and she just needed a break. And I remember for years I would come home and she'd say, "I can't take it anymore, right? I'm going crazy here. The kids are killing me. I got to get out of here." And because I was a good husband, or I thought I wanted to be a good husband, I was trying to be a good husband. Um, a lot of times, she would just hand me the kids and just leave, and it was frustrating for me. And I would sometimes, I was I was frustrated because I was tired too from work, and maybe I needed a break, but I wasn't getting a break, and she was. And I remember it caused some conflict, as often happens, right? Um, you're both tired, you're both exhausted. Somebody has to take care of the kids, especially those kids that require full engagement almost 100% of the time, like our sons did. And you probably have kids like that too. And so I remember I would get frustrated because she would just throw the kids at me and leave. And I was sometimes seethe about it. And I didn't say a lot, but I realized that it was bugging me. I think she kind of started to feel that too. Well, I'll never forget one day I came home from work and I saw her picking out the window. So she saw me roll up and she kind of had a little grin on her face. And when I walked in the door, she met me at the door and she said, "You know what? I love you so much. I'm so glad you're home. You're such a good husband. I really appreciate everything you're doing for us." And then she said, "You know what? The boys have been extra tough today. Is there any way you could just watch them for me and just be my hero and just take care of them for a little while I just take a quick break? I'm just going to run to Walmart to get a few things. Would that be okay? Would you do that for me, please?" And and I remember feeling like, holy crap, yeah, for sure, of course. I wanted to be her hero, right? And I wanted to know that made her happy. And the way she presented herself, "Hey, Kyle, I love you so much. You're such a great husband. Is there any way that you could do this for me? I would really appreciate it." And when I said, "Sure, I'll take care of the kids, no problem," she wrapped her arms around me, she kissed me and hugged me. And she said, "Thank you so much. I can always count on you." Right. And I remember the feeling it gave me, which was this feeling of like, I'm the hero, right? Of course, I'm her knight in shining armor. Of course, I'm going to come home and save her. Right? I remember feeling like that in that moment. And I remember watching the kids and being happy to watch the kids. And she ran off and she came back. And when she got back, she said, "Thank you so much." And I said, "Anytime, babe, anytime you need me, let me know." Right. Well, she didn't do this regularly. She would do it sparingly. And every time she did, I couldn't wait. Every time she did, and she came to the door and she wrapped her arms around me, she kissed me and loved on me, and she told me she needed help. I just felt so good about doing it. And it didn't take me long. A couple of months later, I realized what she was doing. I realized she was manipulating me. But here's the point, though. I didn't care because it was making me happy. Because if you think about it, she had gone from me coming home and her saying, "I can't take it anymore. I can't live like this. Take the kids. I got to get out of here. I need a break." Right. And me being mad about it and seething a little bit and still doing it, but being unhappy about it, to her saying, "Hey, would you do this, please? I love you. You're a great husband. It would really help me out. Thank you so much." And I was happy to do it. Right. The way she presented it changed the way I reacted to it and how I felt about it, and it made me want to do that. Well, the reason I'm bringing this story up is because I was cleaning out some of her files and I found this piece of paper. And this piece of paper, I'm going to show it to you real quick here. It's fully filled out, right? And it's at the top, it says, "I need a break," with a bunch of exclamation points. Well, I want you to know that in the book that you can get now, Autism Parenting Secrets, we lay out the framework that she used here. And we started using as a family to address at-home autism challenges in a spirit of love. You know, as we started to change our family, we started to realize that, the things that the experts and therapists and all these people out there that were doing for us were helpful, but they weren't really solving our at-home challenges. And so we created a framework, and this is the framework she used, right? So I want you to see across the top, it says, "The challenge is I need a break. I'm exhausted when Kyle gets home. I want to be at my best for the kids and for Kyle. Kyle is tired too." She's laying out. She wrote out the things that she was thinking about, right? And she included me. Kyle is tired too. She knew that, right? Her objective was to get Kyle to happily give me a break. I need a break is what she says. The strategy, she named this strategy, "I need a break." That's what she named it. And her tactics, I want to read out her tactics to you. This is the step-by-step thing she did. And in the first section, there's a little first section here that says, "Meet Kyle at the door, smile, tell him I love you, tell him you are my hero, and compliment him." Sorry, this is exactly what she did. The next section, she calls it the big ask, right? So she was setting me up. She was setting the stage. Meet Kyle at the door, smile at him real big, tell him I love you, tell him you are my hero, give him a lot of compliments. And then the big ask says, kindly ask in a spirit of love. Kindly ask in a spirit of love. It says the kids were, and it said blank today. The kids were blank today. Would it be okay if, and then she has a blank. And then it says, which I really love, it says, be okay with whatever his answer is. I think she knew I was tired too. And sometimes I was just tired too. But she said, be okay with whatever his answer is and treat him in a spirit of love. And then it says, and that was the big ask, right? Kindly ask in a spirit of love. The kids were blank today. Would it be okay if blank? And be okay with the answer, no matter what it is, in a spirit of love. And then the end of this thing says, smile, tell him I love you so much. Thank you so much. You are my hero. And then it says at the bottom, P.S. Don't overdo it. Don't do this too often, just when you really need it. Right? This is her worksheet. We're using the same framework that you can learn in our book, but it changed our relationship. She took the time to write down what she needed. And her objective was to get Kyle to happily give me a break. And she thought about, how can I do that? And she knew that if she made me the hero, and she meant it, I promise you, When she did this, when she told me, I love you, I could use a break, I need your help, she meant it. I could see it in her eyes. And I wanted to be that man. I wanted to be that man. And she gave me the opportunity. Keep in mind this from I can't take it anymore, take the kids, I got to go, and me being upset and feeling sometimes overworked or taken advantage of. I went from that to feeling like her greatest hero because she simply took the time to write it out and follow this process. I want you to know in the book that you can buy, there's a link here. I lay out that framework. We call it the cost framework. And we use it to create strategies to work with our kids, to work with each other, she and I. I even created a strategy called How to Make Sure Shelly Knows I Love Her. And it has this, I used the same framework for her so that she would know how much I loved her and appreciated her. So that is the secret, by the way, to getting your husband to do anything you want. I promise you, you follow that formula and you make him feel like the hero. And by the way, men, use the same thing with your wives. Make sure they know. Use that same strategy. It's so powerful, but you have to do it in a spirit of love and you have to really mean it. And when you do, it's such a wonderful thing. So hopefully this is helpful. Grab a copy of the book. I want you to learn the framework. I want you to start creating your own strategies. Every family is unique. Every family is different. This may not work in your situation, but something will. And if you have that framework, you can make adjustments and create things that work for you and your family. So that's my message for today. Have a great day. I can't wait to talk to you next time. Bye-bye.